In 2024, Apple promised to reinvent the iPhone. After nearly 2 years of watching ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude dominate the AI race, Apple finally revealed its answer: Apple Intelligence. Apple even marketed the new iPhone 16 as being built for this new AI era. There was just one problem. The product Apple sold people barely existed. But after years of delays and a $250 million lawsuit, Apple finally made a move that may have completely changed its AI strategy. How did Apple manage to release one of the worst major AI products ever? And have they finally found the key to winning the AI race? Let's get right into it. When ChatGPT first launched in late 2022, almost every big tech powerhouse raced to integrate AI as fast as possible. Microsoft quickly partnered with OpenAI to launch Copilot across all Microsoft products. Google rushed out their underwhelming Bard AI, but quickly rebounded after launching Gemini. Even Meta jumped into the AI race, launching their open-source Llama models. But one major company was missing from this list: Apple. Many tech enthusiasts and investors waited for Apple to mention their future AI plans, but the company continued to stay quiet. This was surprising for a few reasons. Apple had years of AI experience from building Siri, which first released in early 2010. Not only that, but Apple has over 2 billion active devices, highly advanced custom chips, and a fiercely loyal user base. It seemed to many that if Apple released any form of AI, they would dominate the competition. Instead, Apple followed their usual playbook: wait for other companies to test the market, and then dive in with a superior product. Apple tends not to release experimental products without a proven track record, and because of this, is often seen as late to the market with certain advancements. For example, Apple is expected to release the first folding iPhone later this year, which is almost 8 years after Samsung released the Galaxy Fold. Apple likely planned to follow this same pattern when it came to artificial intelligence. But AI might not be another nice-to-have feature like a foldable phone. Having a truly useful AI-powered device would be a game changer, and Apple's waiting strategy is usually focused on hardware. When it comes to software, consumer habits form fast. Many people thought that by the time Apple finally made a move, consumers would already be locked into ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini. That's what made Apple's 2024 Worldwide Developer Conference such a big deal. During this event, Apple released their first major AI feature: Apple Intelligence. Built to run on their custom Apple Silicon chips, Apple Intelligence claims to be an all-in-one AI assistant built into every Apple device. Apple claimed that the product would be able to generate images on demand, take action across apps, and draw from users' personal context to simplify and accelerate everyday tasks. Apple Intelligence was essentially Siri on steroids. Apple also promised a privacy-first approach to AI, which was a huge differentiator from other major labs. Apple's AI promised to make the iPhone more personal and intelligent than ever. The upcoming iPhone 16 promised to be designed from the ground up for AI, and pre-orders came flooding in. But no one knew just how terrible Apple's AI would be. When Apple Intelligence was pushed to iPhone 16s, users were immediately disappointed. The original pitch sounded like a huge Siri revamp, but the actual rollout was staggered, limited, and incomplete. The first Apple Intelligence update came out with iOS 18.1. which introduced notification summaries, new search features in the Photos app, and slight Siri improvements. Although these features were nice to have, they were a far cry from the demos Apple showed earlier that year. Before this, Apple made a huge point in saying that Apple AI features would only be offered to the newest iPhones, causing many people to upgrade their devices earlier than normal. Many users who bought the iPhone 16 for the promised AI features felt like they had been scammed. Apple promised that the features shown at their developer conference were right around the corner. But new features were released at a snail's pace, and news soon broke that Apple was outsourcing much of its AI capabilities to a competitor. Apple's new Siri would handle much of the on-device features, but for almost anything else, Siri would outsource the work directly to ChatGPT. Since Apple followed its usual observe now, act later strategy when it came to AI, they were dramatically behind when they decided to finally act in 2024. So instead of spending years of effort and hundreds of millions of dollars building their own LLM, they decided to partner with OpenAI to integrate ChatGPT into all new Apple devices. But the most hyped feature, a new Siri capable of interacting with apps, was still missing. Deadlines slipped to mid-2025 and got further pushed back into 2026. The more they delayed, the more obvious the truth became. Apple had not caught up to the AI race. They had launched their marketing campaign before the product was finished. After being pressured by executives to ship ambitious products on an impossible timeline, key developers jumped ship. Ruming Pang, Apple's head of foundational AI models, left for Meta in July 2025 to join their new superintelligence division. Several other key executives were poached by Zuckerberg and his new AI golden boy, Alexander Wang. This shows that not even powerful members of Apple's staff had faith in the company to deliver the features that were promised to users. Then came the lawsuits. In May 2026, Apple agreed to pay a $250 million settlement that accused the company of false advertising over its Apple Intelligence features. The lawsuit claimed that Apple never released many of the features shown in their 2024 developer conference and that the company engaged in false advertising. Meanwhile, Apple's partnership with OpenAI was falling apart. OpenAI wanted iPhones to be a major growth channel for ChatGPT, but Apple wanted to limit ChatGPT's presence on its devices. Now, OpenAI is reportedly considering legal action against Apple for breach of contract. Then, just when it looked like Apple had completely failed with their AI plans, they changed everything. At Apple's 2026 developer conference, they finally showed the version of Siri users thought that they were getting 2 years earlier. Apple introduced Siri AI, a new version of Siri completely powered by Apple Intelligence. Apple says it now has on-screen awareness, broad web knowledge, and the ability to take action across apps. In practice, this is the Siri Apple originally wanted people to believe was coming out in 2024. The main selling point is that Siri can now take action on your iPhone and search across your messages, emails, and photos to gain understanding. There's also a dedicated Siri app, which lets users revisit previous conversations and sync Siri history privately across devices. Apple is trying to reposition Siri from a subpar voice assistant to a genuine AI agent that can work across your devices. Another major shift was a partnership with Google. Apple announced that the next generation of Siri will be powered by Gemini, showing that Apple's relationship with OpenAI has effectively come to an end. Apple already has a long partnership with Google, who pays them $18 billion a year to have their search engine power Safari. This brings the two tech giants even closer together. Apple will pay Google $1 billion per year to have Gemini power Siri. The 2026 developer conference essentially promised to deliver the features shown in 2024, along with some further upgrades. However, one space that Apple still hasn't joined is the data center race. Other big tech companies like Google, Meta, and Oracle are spending hundreds of billions of dollars to construct massive AI data centers to power their models or to lease to other companies. With Apple's 2 billion plus devices, you'd think that they would want to build data centers to power those devices. Apple might be making a genius play. Many other companies are financing data centers with debt, and if the AI bubble pops, they could find themselves on the hook for billions of dollars without much ROI. Apple is instead investing in research and development, hoping to develop more advanced chips and ship new features to users. This gives Apple more flexibility in its spending, since they don't have to worry about massive data center debt. Since much of their AI is run on-device, Apple's user base is a massive part of its compute fleet. As John Ternus plans to take over Apple as CEO later this year, he said that Apple should not ship AI just for the sake of shipping AI. He wants to focus on integrating AI where it makes sense and can actually be useful for the end consumer. As AI models become further commoditized, Apple has an interesting plan. They're letting other players like Google and OpenAI spend billions developing models. When the model is strong enough, Apple just packages it and sells it to the end consumer through its massive device network. Just like how Google powers Safari, Apple can simply call upon another AI to power Apple Intelligence. If Apple can get Siri AI's reliability high enough, the company doesn't need to dominate the foundational model leaderboard. Only time will tell if Apple can make good on its new promises and ship the ambitious features promised in their 2026 conference. But while Apple is quietly becoming an AI powerhouse, another big tech company is struggling. They've burned billions of dollars chasing AI and have completely abandoned the community they promised to serve. So if you want to learn why Meta killed its open source AI plans, click the video on screen.